Alright, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the next in our series, Luminosity versus Orangutan. So this is a fun one because I am good friends with the Orangutan guys. We became really good homies in London last year. So we're basically facing off versus our like best friends in Asia. So it's always fun. Honestly, in the series, like it felt like we had their number. We kind of knew what they were gonna do. It felt like we outdrafted them, out macroed them. But an interesting tidbit is that I actually learned a lot. So if you haven't been following the last videos, I did all of the analyst work for my team both years when we won the world championship. And I actually learned a lot from the macro of the APAC regions. I knew they were really strong. My tier list, which is infamous now. I said Orangutan's gonna make it out of their group. I rated all the APAC players really highly, and I was really impressed by their macro. And there were actually a couple secrets and tips that I told my team to copy from watching APAC, and we used them in these games against Orangutan. So very standard draft here. We're banning Urshi because all the Asian teams are really good at blue or Shifu. So this is a common strat we use later on in the tournament. They banned Zorak because they're afraid of Overlord Zorak. So Lapras is very strong. However, the Asian teams didn't seem to have as much practice on Lapras as maybe the NAEU Western teams. So we weren't that scared of giving them a Lapras. Like, you do still have to have a huge impact on the game as Lapras and know kind of how to tempo correctly. So we weren't too scared of giving them Lapras. We felt like they didn't play it enough to be the menace that it is. And we thought Blue or Shifu would actually be a bigger threat, which I think was correct. So we took Umbreon and Teleon. They took Slowbro, which forces us to take Blissey. Umbreon Blissey is actually a very potent combo into Slowbro. I really like it. So they took Zacian, Leafeon, and honestly, I told you guys in like the first video, I really think Leafeon was a bait this tournament. We picked it 0 times. 0 times, went undefeated besides the one game we lost to India. So if that doesn't show that Leafeon is a bait, actually, I don't think I said it in my first video. I said it in my tier list on Worlds, which is very informative. You guys should watch that. I made a Worlds tier list of the best Pokemon at Worlds, in my opinion, as world champions. So we went with our standard Venusaur comp that we always do. So we have like a frontline tank in the top lane. We have Umbreon tank too. So kind of double frontline with the double mage backline. So I had a lot of questions asking, when do you go Solar Beam versus when do you go Petal Dance? So basically, Solar Beam is really good into matchups that it outranges. Not even outranges, just ranged matchups that are squishy. So for example, Solar Beam's good into Inteleon. It's good into Espeon. It's good into Glaceon, etc. Those kind of squishy mages, Delphox as well. Just all the squishy mages, which are very common in NA and EU, not really by the Asian teams. The Asian teams love to run melees. So when they run these melees like this, like Speedster, Zacian, Tanks, that's when Petal Dance really shines, because with the support, especially like Blissey, they're going to really struggle to kill the Venusaur late game. Now, the one weakness of Venusaur is that it has a really weak early game compared to other junglers. So to make up for this, we draft hard winning lanes on both sides. Squirtle, Umbreon, very good lane, although they are kind of struggling here. I believe we hadn't fully fleshed out our strat, but later on in the tournament, we do tell Elo to run the score on Umbreon, which is much better, because that guarantees your level 4. However, he didn't do it this lane, but the lane is still fine. You can see Squirtle is very good in lane. We have Inteleon bot lane. So drafting these winning lanes really help the Venusaur through the early game, and that's a very important component of draft. Kind of fleshing out what's good at what parts of the game to cover for all of your comp's weaknesses is very, very important. It's almost like, what can you get away with? You can get away with Venusaur if you draft properly to kind of help it get through the early game. So we go very aggressive here. Kyriaos almost kills the Leafeon, but we get his focus ban. The Slowbro flashes for him. Kyriaos has to flash, but he lives. So we're doing pretty fine bot considering they split buff. Did they split buff? No, they didn't actually. But I mean, and Leafeon is probably one of the only laners that can actually match Inteleon. So we're doing fine bot. top is doing okay-ish. They are slightly behind. It is a Lapras, but again, the early game is because of that. So now they're trying to invade with 3 people. So kyriaos actually, we rotate 3 people. So you can see they rotate 3 people, but look at our response on the map. We knew this invade was coming. It was so obvious. Elo is already in position. kyriaos is already rotating. We get the blue buff. They're caught off guard because they don't expect 3 people. So they're getting hard fucked here. They're all really chunked. So they had to kite out now. So we successfully stopped the invade, which is very good. Again, our comp is winning. We just had to get through the early game. So even if we're slightly behind in early, which right now we're actually ahead in the early game. The points might not be ahead, but if you look at the experience, which is more important at this stage of the game, it is very clear who's winning. Oh, okay. The stream kind of glitched out there. So it is very clear who's winning off the experience. Now it's more even. They just farmed their jungle. So, I mean, going even in the early game, very, very good with our comp. And now the Leafeon gets caught off guard. Honestly, these Venusaur ganks should not be working as well as they do. I honestly think like Orangutan did look a little nervous on stage. That's what Ice told me as well, that his team are chokers on the big stage. It's a common thing. Like, people aren't used to like performing and stuff in front of a big audience. So I honestly think if this wasn't Worlds, that these Venusaur ganks would not work as well as they are. Just because Venusaur has really weak ganks, so they're kind of falling for obvious baits. Because when your jungler is ganking, you kind of want to bait the enemy team into you. So kyriaos is level 9 here, does really good damage, and now they're running away to heal up. So we're just gonna rip it. Elo gets on their backline and just kills them all. So the Umbreon is absolutely putting work in on these guys. And now we're just gonna finish. We kind of, if you see, we hit it to half and then we turned. So showing you guys how to play these Regis. They have a really good secure with like Leafeon and other stuff. So we hit the Regi to half. They get baited in, right? And then we turn on them. See? So I'm keeping the Regi leash because I'm a Blissey. I don't really do much. I can kind of sit as the central, like, you can almost think of it kind of like a solar system, right? So the Regi's the sun and you kind of rotate around it. So one person has to keep it in place. Otherwise, it'll get dragged to reset, right? So you kind of want to identify the least impactful person for chasing down, which in this case, definitely Blissey, because I can just heal my team as they're running around in circles around this and just stay next to the Regi. So that's what I did. So you can see we just kept it at half the whole time so we can turn whenever. So they're forced to run in. Otherwise, we'll just finish it. And if we see them running in, we have people zoning and we can just turn on them. So top lane is kind of suffering because rhinne has been an island the whole time. So they're going to get the top Regi. We're going to try to come and hold this. Yeah, Overlord does make it in time. So we do still have Venusaur Unite. We won bot so hard that it was never necessary to Venusaur Unite. And you can see the same thing I outlined in yesterday's video where we kind of have the War Turtle bot because he's really good at securing. However, they do Lapras Unite down. But we read this really well, and you can see Overlord was running down. We knew they had Lapras Unite. He actually catches them rotating right here. So really good awareness by us. Again, we kind of had their number in macro. And it really does not matter they killed our Venusaur because they killed our Blastoise. Our Blastoise is not fed at all. So as long as they don't kill our Venusaur, we'll be fine, which it's a little close here, but Overlord is already too fed. And yeah, they're just getting outread macro-wise. Now we're going to score top. We're going to break bot, and now they're absolutely fucked. So we really, like, we just knew what they were going to do. And it was just a hard draft gap as well. So this was honestly probably our easiest match of the tournament. No flame to Orangutan. They're a really good team, and I honestly expected them to do better than they did, but we really just had their number in this series. It was not even close. I remember this whole time in the series, like, we weren't even sweating at all. So huge Blastoise Unite. I Bliss Unite Overlord just because he was getting low. Again, the only way they get back in this game is if they kill our Venusaur, because that's who all the experience is on. When you kill someone who's low experience, it really does not give you much experience. So it's really only the highest level person on a team too also gives more experience. That's just how like the game mechanics work. So you really have to keep in mind when you're the highest EXP on a team and really try not to die. Because that gives like extra experience. I really wish the game like said stuff like this, but it's just stuff you kind of have to know. I luckily am friends with math chords, so we learn a lot from them. I do think that's an advantage that kind of NA and EU teams have over Asian teams in a lot of these tournaments. So this fight, Overlord gets so low, and I get surfed away. So I look at me. So I'm trying to heal him, right? So I really need to heal him. I get surfed. I get Zacian ulted. So I have to run all the way around. Barely make it in time to start healing him. So it was very close. And now we're just going to turn on the Reggie. And you can see how annoying Umbreon is in these games. He's so in their face, does so much damage, unkillable. It's really like it's like choking. What's the word? Like but when you're playing the game and you just feel like there's nothing you can do, that's kind of what Umbreon when it's ahead does. It just feels like almost hopeless, like you can't really do anything, because nothing you do says Umbreon. It will tickle the Umbreon. You can't even CC the Umbreon because it has its passive and it has Snarl, so you're never catching the Umbreon out. So when a team with like these tanks get ahead, like Blastoise has Surf too, you're never really catching him. It just feels like such a chokehold. Like there's no way to get EXP back into the game. And you can see it, the Ray fight's about to come up, and they're all level 12, level 11. Look at our team. We have a level 14 Venusaur. And if you don't know how important levels are, this is like thousands of points and like health points damage of difference. Like it really makes a huge difference. One level is the equivalent to like 3 held items. Like it really does make a huge difference. So we're just gonna keep Ray Pit control. Like Elo's holding very aggro position. We're holding very aggro position top side. The only place we're not holding position in is bottom left bush. That is because Blastoise can hold solo fine, Umbreon can hold solo fine, but this Inteleon and Venusaur are in danger of dying alone. Venusaur not so much, but especially Inteleon. So our plan here is Elo can watch them rotating into the Ray Pit, so we don't really need the bottom left positioning. It would be nice, but again, don't try to overcompensate. If you try to do too much, you're gonna lose, right? So you have to know what your comp can do, the strengths and weaknesses. So if they try to score here, which we don't want to let in scores since we have such a huge lead, that's how we win this game. We have to force them to do Rayquaza. The Inteleon can just quickly go stop the scores. I'm Blissey right here, so he's very safe. I can just Bliss Unite him if the Leafeon tries to Unite him. And that's kind of our plan for the Rayquaza. We're just going to force them to not go in. Now that Overlord's here, because Overlord was farming, trying to hit his level 15, the Inteleon can kind of play mid here. So this is a very safe position. The Blastoise is warding all flanks from here. The Venusaur is on the right side in case someone somehow made it through the jungle, but very unlikely. And we have me pocketing and the Umbreon in front. So Venusaur is now holding the pad, and this is just very, very safe. Like there is nothing they can do really if we keep good positioning. So Rhinne rotated down a little, and now he's going to go back to the top side position. He does find the Lapras, and the Lapras tries to chunk him. Now they're trying to run in. The Slowbro went telekinesis, which I do not think is a good move. The Leafeon unites, the Slowbro unites, but you can see here what's really important on Venusaur is getting your Giga Drain off. So getting that 30% damage reduction, and when you do that, the Leafeon Unite does no damage, especially because he's only level 13 compared to level 15. Now when they Slowbro Unite, I'm going to immediately Bliss Unite, because Bliss Unite just counter Slowbro Unite, so it's almost always a good Bliss Unite if you just do it on the person Slowbro United, and you can see they get 5-man wiped here. So I'll just let the fight play out. Elo unites. This is a really good Umbreon Unite, so I had a lot of people questioning like the Umbreon pick, why it's so good. Not a lot of people, a couple of questions, because they played on solo queue and it doesn't feel as strong. Umbreon is so good and competitive because its kit is so good, and its Unite move steals the shield of Unites. That actually makes it so easy to kill these Pokemon. So you can see Elo united the Slowbro. So now the Slowbro Slowbro normally just can't die in Celebrity Night, but now he can. It actually hard counters other defenders. He's stealing all the shields of all these Pokemon here in the fight. It makes it so easy to kill him. And you can see they have no shields. We have massive shields, and they're just going to die. So Umbreon is actually so good in these team fights. Its whole kit is good, but its Unite move is actually, like, I think the most underrated theme that people don't realize is so strong. A good Umbreon Unite in a fight is game-changing. So, yeah, this game was not close. We wiped them all. Not a single person died at the Ray fight. So, you guys could just we're just kind of like chilling here. We're like that was a little too easy. We didn't expect it to be that easy because again, Orangutan is a really good team. Wow, did I skip over the damage? Did they really show the damage that little? Let's see it. Did they not show damage for this match? Really? No damage? Maybe it's way later on. Very interesting. Maybe at the end of the replay. Isn't it normally after the game? Am I tripping? Oh, they just didn't show damage. We got scammed, guys. But I guess leave your guesses for the damage in the comments below. Because I honestly don't remember. My guess is Overlord did like 150k or something, but as we skip to the next game, it's a really long break. I'm just trying to find the next game here. All right. Okay, that was a really long break. I didn't remember it taking that long on stage. Oh wait, actually I do remember like their team had technical difficulties, I guess, from what I remember. Did we have to reset the game or something? I honestly, like, after the initials like worlds, a lot of the stuff blurs together. So I don't actually fully remember exactly what happened. I think I remember they had like technical difficulties or something. Was this the game? I remember there was one match at Worlds where we did the whole draft, we got into the game, and we had to redo it. We had to do that for the last Grand Finals match, but I think there was one before that. But yeah, this side draft, very straightforward. They banned Inteleon, which I think is a really int ban. So we just get Lapras, first pick. Rhinne was the best Lapras at Worlds. It's just a free win. They take Blissey Umbreon, which I also think is int. I think you can go Slowbro Umbreon, potentially. Might be better. I don't like the Blissey pick. So we're just going to take Slowbro A9. A9 is just a very solid, kind of lets us do what we want pick. And we're just going to go Speedster Comfy. So this is what I was talking about in yesterday's video, where we have two different strats that we can threaten. We either go Venusaur, Speedster Comfy. They all beat pretty much everything. A lot of people don't realize, but Zoroark is actually a really good matchup into Umbreon because Illusion actually cancels Mean Look. You can Illusion the first Mean Look, you can full heal, and then your Illusion is back up for the next Mean Look. So it takes the Umbreon like 30 seconds to actually be able to Mean Look Zoroark. So especially because they don't really have any CC outside of the Umbreon, it's just such a free Zoroark game. And the last pick, Glaceon into Zoroark, that is the problem with Asian teams. The junglers kind of only play like Dodrio, Glaceon, or Shifu Zoroark. So because they don't play like Venusaur, which Venusaur probably would have been the best option this game, they really struggle into when we pick Zoroark at a good time. Because see, we took the Slowbro, which Slowbro is a really good Zoroark counter. Lapras is also very annoying for Zoroark. And we took A9 with our first three, right? So now they're like, their Pokemon pools is what we targeted in draft because they don't really play anything else that could really hard fuck the Zoroark. Like, honestly, like Pikachu would have been better. Obviously, Pikachu jungle doesn't really work here, but something hard TC that doesn't die to Zoroark, like Glaceon. Glaceon just is not very good. So again, this is a hard draft gap, but this is what we did against Omo too, which I'll get into later, where we just kind of targeted their Pokemon pools, and there's nothing they can really do. It's a very standard, like, thing we did where we leash red and go top. We didn't leash the full jungle because Zora kind of doesn't need it. It doesn't really make a difference. So especially into their comp, we're not afraid of invade this game. So they're trying to score on the Lapras. They're going to get very, very low. The Zork's just going to gank bot here. And this is something so strong about Zork. He ganks at like, I believe Overlord trolled his clear a little, but normally you can gank at like 9:15. So they sent their jungler bot too, but top is hard winning. Lapras is just so strong. And yeah, so Overlord is gonna run top just because basically when you're playing mons like this, like Zoroark or even Venusaur actually, it depends on the matchups, but we're Slowbro A9 bot, right? So we're very strong, so they can't really do anything to us in the 3v2. So you want to go to like the winning lane to kind of get your stacks in, especially with Zoroark. So Overlord knows that top is going to be a lot easier to kill than bot because they killed the Squirtle, so he probably doesn't have focus, he probably doesn't have a eject button. He's missing a lot of items that are crucial, and so Overlord's going to get his stacks in, and that's huge. So keep track of Zoroark stacks. That was one stack. Again, Zoroark is the best stacking Pokemon in the game, so you really want to get 6 stacks on it. Unfortunately, we did try to invade, but the Glaceon did get it, so that's really unlucky. And bot is just, I think we're not even slightly behind. Actually, we are, yeah, just a little behind, but very minimal. And that's because we had the 3v2 at B's bot, but you can see we're still doing so fine. And obviously we didn't have vision of the Glaceon, so now I'm gonna try to protect kyriaos from the Glaceon, and I go potion Slowbro. So that is some tech that a lot of people don't know, some hidden tech for you guys. So if you slack off, what slack off does is it doubles all incoming healing. People actually don't know that. So if you slack off on pad, you're gonna heal a lot more than normal. If you slack off with focus band active, so when your focus band procs, you slack off, you heal a lot more. And so I run potion because we have Comfy, so you'll see this a lot. I go potion on the tank because you kind of need sustain, which Comfy doesn't provide. So kind of knowing the weaknesses of your comp, you really need sustain, so that's why I go potion when we have Comfy, to kind of help with the poke because they have a Glaceon and a Mew. Something that's really strong with potion on Slowbro is when you slack off and you spam potion, it doubles the healing. So you can see it's normally supposed to heal only 25%. That was double the amount. So they thought they could kill me, but now I'm full health. I do believe Overlord actually dies here from what I remember. Yeah, he misses his feint attack combo, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to pick Elo up here, and they really can't kill me, I think. Actually, maybe I do die. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Glaceon does crazy damage, so I was capping there. But the A9 is back now, so a little bit of int, but it's not the end of the world. The bigger ints are when they score. So unfortunately, Rhinne was 1v2 top. I think he wanted his stacks and just let them score for his stacks, which honestly is a thing to do on Lapras. Like getting yourself ahead, not really caring if they get ahead, is definitely valid when you're playing stacking Pokemon. So I think that's probably the exchange Rhinne was going for there. And now we are not, we're like even now in the early game because of those ints bot. So Overlord's just gonna farm for his 9. Again, this is a common theme. We do not prioritize the bot Reggie very hard. So we're fine with being late to this bot Reggie. If they start ripping the Reggie immediately, Overlord would just run to their jungle. But now Overlord's level 9 after he stalled bot Reggie. He ran down. The Glaceon actually Shedinjadal'd his combo, but he's just gonna use his Unite move. And so the Glaceon's fucked either way. I think Eject probably would have been better for the Glaceon. And yeah, he's gonna kill him on pad. Come back to finish the Reggie steal, or the Reggie ice. And feint attack, once you get the final combo, is very strong. And we knew the Mew was on Surf. I remember I hard calmed that he was on Surf, so it's a very easy for secure for us. He was stuck on Surf. Only get 11 points in off it, but at this point we're not like very, very strong, so it's gonna be hard to force the bottom pad. However, what's easier to force is forcing the top Reggie, because if you're slightly ahead like this, the easiest way to force a pad is by getting the top Reggie, which if you fight over the top Reggie, you're not fighting on pad. So if you try to fight on pad, you're really disadvantaged, right? So you really need like a huge lead. But yeah, we can also look for fights in mid because that's where Zork is very, very strong. And after seeing a lot of people mid, we try to force the top in. And yeah, so they kind of entered their position here. Normally we'd have to go for the top Reggie, but they sent way too many people mid. And they do get a couple scores bot, I believe. Oh, actually, they get no scores bot. Okay, they get 1 score, but only 15 points. So that is huge for us. We got a huge over on top. And now we can either push top in or push bot. I forget what we did, but both are fine plays. Oh yeah, it's we see 2 people bot. So what we can do here is Rhinne can stop their backs and then the Lapras unite up. So they really inted by having these 2 people bot. They really inted like right here, where they kind of all went mid, let us break top. This is where we really snowballed the game. So we saw them all mid, and this is the strength of a speedster. He can run across the map, right? And because we saw them at least 3 people mid, we just forced top. The A9 can zone for the Zork to get the over. And now in return, they're like, oh, we have to get something back, right? So they try to force these scores bot. However, Rhinne, I don't know if he X-speeds. He doesn't even X-speed, but he stops the 40 bot as well. But even if they got the 40, the problem is that now the Lapras is not threatened at all by them, and he can actually just stop their backs. And after stopping their backs, so if there's 2 stuck bot, he can actually Lapras unite all the way up as well to help us on the push. But honestly, just keeping 2 bot is so good for us pushing this Reggie top in. Let's see, the camera guy is just not doing it. So does it go in? No, it doesn't. So I believe we have to leave now. Oh no, the Lapras unites actually. It's a really close fight. Yeah, okay. So the problem was that their death timers are too low, so I do believe we have to leave now. But we killed all of them on pad. Only kyriaos died for it, so not too bad. Unfortunate, I do think Rhinne kind of misplayed by letting them back here, but it was tough because of mean look. Probably should have stopped the Umbreon back at least a little more, and then we probably would have pushed it in. But yeah, the game plan there was solid, and you can see it's a solid game plan when you still mess up like a little micro wise, and it still works out fine because we killed all of them, and they used all the unites. So Overlord's just farming his Zork unite back. Again, we're just gonna stall the bot Reggie. kyriaos kind of hits it, leashes it to reset. I went over the strat in my video yesterday. And now Overlord's really close to unite, just gonna come for bees, trying to get his unite back before we fight. You can see we're playing very passive until we get our unites back on the Zork. It's very important when ahead to try to not die, so that unite move is gonna ensure that he kind of doesn't die. And now we're Lapras uniting in, we get on the mute. So yeah, that's a crazy combo, by the way, you can do with Comfy. You have a 3 people army just going in at the speed of light because Comfy's on top of the person getting dragged. So that's huge. The Blastoise unite misses Overlord. The Lapras is just really tanky, and Overlord is just going to kill their entire backline now. We're going to get a huge overcap, and we're going to get the Reggie. So this game is not as big of a stomp as the last game, but it's really good. Overlord just wants to get in more stacks here. So now he is fully stacked, I believe, which again is so good on Zork. And they pop their Mew Unite. They're going to pop like everything, trying to kill Overlord. I have Slow Unite, so I'm just going to Slow Unite to help him live. And I'm probably going to die for it, but that is fine. We have Lapras to cover pad. Oh, shit, I'm still alive. Slowbro is broken, but now I do go down. We have A9 waiting. Overlord or kyriaos, that's a really good combo to cancel the Blastoise Surf. And Overlord's just on their backline right now, killing them all. Huge Grass Knot, by the way. So Grass Knot is actually way better than Magical Leaf, guys. Like, we went Grass Knot only on Comfy. Look at that Grass Knot. That is so huge. Insane Grass Knot. Elo is the best Comfy in the world. He's absolutely insane at it. You can see Ice after dying here. Look at his reaction. He just goes... puts his arms on. So they're gonna get huge scores bot now off that fight. So again, these fights are really dangerous for them. They're trying to get comeback kills, but it can lead to us scoring even more points and extending our lead. So you have to be really careful about the fights you take from behind, because it can just help snowball the lead further. Kyriaos is in trouble here, got caught up by the mean look, trying to go for Bs. He's gonna have to burn eject, so no eject for the Rayquaza. But he does get Umbreon passive, and he did get a lot of Bs in exchange, so it is not that bad. I'd probably say the eject button is more worth for the A9 to have, but the thing is he'll get it back like at 130, so it's actually not that bad. They're gonna rip the Reggie down really fast, and we're just gonna position topside. Lapras has huge positioning bot really far ahead. We have the A9 position topside right now, and normally this positioning by A9 would be a little bad, but they don't really have anyone that can kill the A9 solo besides like Mew. But Mew takes a while, so by the time the Mew's combo is coming out to kill A9, we can usually rotate in time to help. And I didn't see this happen, so the Umbreon flash mean looks Overlord, and Overlord just illusions it like I told you to cancel it, and now the Umbreon's just dead. So it felt like a lot of A9 teams, or a lot of Asian teams, actually didn't know that you could reliably illusion the mean look every single time, so they looked really caught out by it. Yeah, so like I said, the Mew's just gonna kill the A9 very easily. It's hard for the A9 to do anything, but again, Overlord's still alive, the Lapras is still alive, so the A9 dying doesn't matter much, and Overlord is very low, so he's just gonna have to wait to heal up a little bit. And now they're trying to rip it, and Overlord does choke his combo, so that was a little sus, but Rinne's just running at them topside, trying to kill the Glaceon, and he does kill the Glaceon on 1 HP. The Mew actually chokes the E-Ball. The Mew choked the E-Ball! So, again, I think Orangutan would have been a much better team. They were kind of chokers on stage. So, there are a couple mechanical things, like the Umbreon flash, I mean, looking at the start and just dying. Very bad. This Mew E-Balling the Clay Doll, I didn't even see that. So, I think they were just really nervous on stage. They are a very good team. It's like, you're gonna play at, like, some people are going to play at like 50% their normal, like how good they are on stage. And that's normal because of nerves, anxiety. Everyone suffers from that. I remember like my first like 10 or so tournaments, I played so bad and I knew I was better, but I was just so nervous. My hands used to get really cold. Even at Worlds last year, like in our group stages, my hands were really cold from how nervous I was. This Worlds, I was just ice cold, like ice in my veins. Like I did not give a fuck. I was not nervous at all. But last year's Worlds, I remember like I got so nervous, my hands were really cold and they were shaking. Like they get so cold, they're shaking. So it's a very common thing that I feel like a lot of casual viewers don't account for when watching pro matches. They think like, oh, I could play so much better. Like, could you? They think about playing on a stage with like 10,000 people. Like it's like, it's very hard. And like maybe you could play better than they are on stage. Maybe you are used to playing on stage, but are you going to get through there through playing them online? Because a lot of these players play like 10 times better online. Probably not. Like you'll probably get clapped by them online before you even get to the stage. So just keep that in mind when watching that. Like nerves, like playing in a different environment really like determines like how people play. You really saw how that affected people in Worlds, I think, this year, because a lot of teams got upset, and it's not just because like they were bad or overrated. Like there's a lot of factors that teams aren't used to. My team, we had the Worlds experience on stage last year, so we were used to it, right? And that's we kind of get like a stage buff. It happened in regionals too, where we did play really good in regionals up until grand finals, but that were other core issues that caused us to lose. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I went a lot more in depth than normal, but I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it.